Trevor here from Double the Movies. Why am I standing up here? So I want to talk about the pros and cons of having a TV this size and a screen that size. Okay, so basically you are kind of in the main seat. You're in the hot seat. You're in the center seat of my sofa, which is where I watch most of the movies. And you're about the same distance away from the screen as my head is when I'm sat here. So yes, there are pros and cons. I don't know if you can see a reflection of the screen very well, but that is, I guess, one con of having a TV, is because it has glass and it's reflective. Now, obviously a screen is reflective, but in a different way. So let's turn it on and let's put something through it, shall we? Come on, turn on. Thank you. There we go. So while this wakes up, let me just get that and that. So what we should have here is YouTube. This is my personal YouTube channel, one you don't get to see. Right, well, let's put this video on here. Let's put this on the TV. And then we'll switch to the projector. So there we go, there's the two Lancasters. So that's how it looks basically from my seating position if I watch a film, or if I just generally watch TV. So that's a con with watching the telly, is that it's reflective, and as you can see, how much wall you can see, it's relatively small, but that is a 50-inch screen. So I am just under 2.5 meters away from the screen, and so let's turn on the projector and let's bring down the screen, shall we? So now most of what you're looking at should be filled up by screen. Right, then if I swap, will it come up on projector at the same time? Projector did actually wake up, so let me try that again. We'll just listen to the planes before we can see them. So there you go. No reflection. I can wave and you can't see me waving. Let's tilt this up a little bit. There we go. So now I can see Optima experience on the screen, and hopefully in a minute what we're seeing will come through as well. Let it search. And there we go. Right, so that's not very good, is it? You can't see much, can you? And also you can see my hand, hello, and you can see the phone, which is you guys. So if I make it darker, you should start to get an image much clearer on the screen. There we go, there's me again. So there we go, now you've got a much clearer image. Now obviously another con, as you can see my head in the corner there, if I'm watching a full frame, which this is, a 1:7:8 aspect ratio picture, then I have to keep it out of the way like this. But I'm actually sat up straight. I'm not sat in any weird position, but I can't sit in the middle here. Only if I've got a much wider video. So, you know, where there's masks at the bottom, then I can, what I do is nudge the screen up. So that is now in the position if I was watching like a 235 film. So let's bring that back down. So the great advantage to me of having a big screen is, one, now you guys look like you're sat even closer than you was before. So essentially I'm getting that amount of information myself. But when I've watched things like this, and this box set has the original theatrical cut of each film, which you probably know because you may have it yourself in your own collection. So for the first time, I've now been able to watch Star Wars, not A New Hope, but Star Wars, on the screen you see in front of you. And I've seen the full 240:1 image, which I've never ever seen before. I've seen only a pan and scanned VHS version. And, you know, I've got the VHSs with those on, but all my other versions of Star Wars are from 1997 onwards, so they're the remastered versions and the special editions basically. So let me wind this down. You're a bit too tall up there. Just enjoy the planes for a little bit. So, yeah. Sorry, kind of just enjoying my footage. So I took this footage myself. My band and I were having band practice, and it just happened to be up near Old Warden, where that day these two Lancasters just happened to be doing flyovers. So we finished band practice, got to the airfield, basically stood in a farmer's field. That was my mate there, and just watched them fly around for about, well, yeah, 10 minutes basically. But yes, this is literally like a real cinema experience. There you go, filmed by me. So that will go back to YouTube now, will it? Yes, near Old Warden, August 20th. 2014, there we go. It was the year I got married. So that should go back to YouTube. Oh no. So this is another downside. If you could see here, this is where there's light coming in through the kitchen window. Even though there's a blind down, it is casting that shadow there. So that's a bit of a downside. So what I have to do, because this is just as dark as I can get this room basically, in the daylight, so that's a downside again, is that you kind of got to wait till it's dark to get a decent image on your screen, whereas if I go back to the telly, you can see the image better. and obviously you can see the the projector reflecting in the so yeah, this was a lightning storm I took some video of. It's clearly very low res because it's up on YouTube, and so anyway, right, let's stop this. Let's come out of there. So there you go. Look how clear and crisp the image is on the TV, and how much contrast and detail you have compared to what we have on the projector. So look how black the screen is. So there you go. With your OLED screens, you're going to get all these amazing blacks, and on projectors you're not going to get these amazing blacks. But when you go to the cinema, you then also do not get amazing blacks, because projectors just cannot not send light out, if you see what I mean. So you can get an illusion of it being black by certain films like Lucy's, starring Scarlett Johansson. I watched this in 4K on this screen at night, and there were scenes where the black levels looked really, really good. Let's get this one on screen, shall we? This is one I took of the moon. Get it in focus. It's not easy to film the moon, especially when there's a tree in the way. There we go. And there you can see it moving across the screen because I'm zoomed in. This is not taken on my phone. This is taken via my camcorder, which I have. And once I get a computer, I will be able to use video from the camcorder as well as my phone. But if you can see carefully, it is moving up the screen by itself. That's how fast it is moving. But there's quite a bit of detail in there. Let's look at it. Let me just try and adjust the camera. Well, that's it. That's a very short video. So let's put the same video. Let me turn the projector off. So you're not getting two images. Let's see if I can put that back on without an advert. There we go. So there you go, this is the same image, but look how small it looks. You know, that's on a 50-inch TV, like I said, and I got really deep blacks, and lots of nice fine detail. But so obviously we're watching videos on YouTube and they're compressed, even more so than on Blu-rays or 4Ks. So that's why the quality is not going to be so good. But trust me, when I watch, let's go back to the beginning, or at least pause it there. There we go. When I can't remember what I was saying. Well, other things that I've watched on the big screen and been really impressed with. This horror film, Drive-In Massacre. Now this is from '88, it's in the Slasher collection, and the picture really looked like I was watching 35mm. I was that impressed. I mean, the picture's slightly faded, and there is dirt and scratches on it, but it really added to the horror experience. And it's kind of, you know, what you want, in my opinion anyway, when you're watching films. There's the reversible art, in case you didn't recognise it. And so before the Second Sight box set came out, let's see if I can get that in focus. There we go. I also watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre on DVD, and I didn't upscale it. I set it to native, so I set my player to 576, so that I was getting that really old school. I had it on the projector, but I was getting that really old school viewing experience. And one thing I noticed is when one of the characters gets killed, and Leatherface is hello, and Leatherface is rather thrusting his chainsaw into the guy's belly. I never really noticed the blood splatter before. Now you think that there would be blood splatter, but this Texas Chainsaw Massacre is renowned for not being bloody, not as bloody as we think, but actually it was more bloodier than I thought, because seeing it on the big screen, I noticed a lot more blood in certain scenes. So yeah, that's definitely a pro of watching films on a big screen. I mean, you know, it's only 106 inches, not massive, of course it's not cinema size, but in this small room, this is a 4.5 by 4 meter room. It's a brilliant experience every time I watch. Right, now it's dark, I thought I would show you the same sort of images again, but in full darkness. So here we go.
Just above the hedge, right above that guy.
Right, so the picture blooms on the telly because the camera can't quite cope with how bright it is. Let's see if I can adjust that slightly. That's a bit better. Okay, so now we're from my seating position on the left where you see me in my videos. That's a pretty good representation as I look with my own eyes onto the TV. What you're seeing on the screen is pretty much accurate. So then let's bring down the screen and we'll put the projector on. And probably what I'll do is put the video back at the beginning, because there's quite a bit more detail and colour, and rather than just sky. Here comes the screen. Right, so now we've got to wait for the projector. Right, yeah, now it's waking up. So I don't know how well the phone will pick this up, but you know, let's see, shall we? I've got the pro settings up on my phone so I can make some adjustments. Right, that's just the, as you can see, searching. Oh dear, well, no, it doesn't look like that. Okay, let me get this right. This is just my phone doing all this. Right. Well, anyway, right, like I said, let's go back here and see if this works better. That's a little bit better. But there you go, that's it on the big screen. Now if you watch this video yourself, it does look a bit blocky, it does look a bit kind of compressed. I'm just trying to see if I can get rid of these lines. It's about getting the right exposure, I think. I'm not the best with camera settings. But yeah, you kind of see what I mean. If I bring it back a little bit, because I kind of got the camera on the floor on a tripod. But if I put the screen back up, and then we'll see the same image on the telly. That's kind of a cool effect, isn't it? Yeah, so there you go. Now, one of the things I noticed about, if I go back to this screen, so you know, a lot of these 4Ks, and people are saying that they're dark. Well, just look how dark the screen is on my TV. You know, the black area is black. The only light areas are where there's the graphics and the writing and all that. You can barely tell the difference between the outer bezel on my TV and the screen itself. So, of course, when you look at these lovely 4K discs with their high dynamic range, with the dark areas being much darker, lighter areas being brighter, but they will also be sharper. So where you can see the moon, if I get my, so where you see the moon there, that'll be much more refined and bright, as opposed to where on the screen it just looks like a sort of a big blurry ball kind of thing. So the best thing I can say is, when you look at a comparison between a Blu-ray image and a 4K image on a channel like My Moonization, look at the light in someone's eye. You'll see it look one way, quite sort of soft and quite large in the eye, until it goes to the 4K image, and then you should see it get smaller but brighter. So the high dynamic range, the brightness doesn't mean to say the overall image is going to be brighter. What it means is, obviously, the lights, the sun, or glints and things like that will be brighter but more detailed. So yeah, bring the screen down again and seeing how bright the area that's black on the TV is. That's why when I watch these films, they don't look dark to me. So it may be a case of compensating with your brightness setting. This is why I keep mentioning settings on TVs and how important they are. If you really want the best experience, if you really want that wow experience from 4K, and I mean more wow than you've got now, then you need to do a proper sort of setup on your telly. You know, calibration is ideal, but of course that costs money. A setup, you can get a disc relatively cheap and do it yourself. Just follow the instructions. Or if you've got filmmaker mode on your TV, make sure it's on filmmaker mode and don't touch any other settings, and you should be fine. It may take getting used to. Don't forget, we've been watching TVs with the incorrect settings for decades. Just because we didn't know that we had to change them. We might set the brightness or contrast to our liking, but we won't be setting them with any kind of educational an educated guess, let's say. So anyway, yes, there you go. There is a comparison between what it's like watching films on a TV or films on a projector and a big screen. So this is a 16:9 screen, as is the TV 16:9, but there are 21:9 screens, in which case you could set the projector to 21:9, and when you have a 2:40:1 aspect ratio, it will fill the whole screen and there will be no masks top and bottom. Basically the image will just get wider and wider depending on how wide the aspect ratio is. Anyway, so there you go. It's too dark for me to sort of come onto camera, and I don't want to suddenly turn the light on and blind you all. So please give it a thumbs up, the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Check on my playlists for a big variety of content, and take it easy. I'll see you in the next video.